Hey, Happy New Year, investors. Welcome to the 40 Finance channel. My name is Jeff Beers. Today we're going to look at Mercado Libre stock. This is one that's been referenced in the comments a couple times, and I think it's a pretty intriguing opportunity. So we're going to dig into Mercado Libre stock, talk about its valuation, where it stands today, and of course, most importantly, the growth prospects for the future. Reminder as always that my stock picks and projections, they're just my opinion for your entertainment. Please make sure you do your own research and due diligence before making any investment. And of course, if you like stock market analysis and personal finance videos, please make sure that you give this video a like and subscribe to the channel to make sure that you can see all the new videos that come out here. I also added a like jar there in the back. Every like that I get on a video here in 2021, going to be adding some change to that. And then when we get to the top, we'll figure out exactly what we're going to do with that pot of like money, whether we do a split the pot, donate to charity, something like that. But let's try to fill up that glass vase back there so we can have something fun to look forward to. All right, so Mercado Libre, it's most commonly compared to Amazon as far as companies here in the United States, based in Latin America. And what makes this company particularly unique is that it's sort of an Amazon Plus type operation. Outside of the marketplace, which is based on third-party vendors, they also have their payment platform, digital wallet, advertising opportunities for merchants, and a whole shipping ecosystem that helps third parties distribute their goods to the e-commerce customers in a more efficient way. Like so many other e-commerce companies, this one saw a huge spike, particularly in Q3 revenues during the pandemic here. And kind of like Etsy and Amazon, they just saw sales go through the roof. So there's obviously a ton of excitement going on with this one because you're in a country like Latin America, which is going to take a little bit longer for technical adoption to happen just because of the different levels of access for technology. And I think that's what makes Mercado Libre have a pretty good niche, and that is the distribution of goods and technology in Latin America is not going to be as easy as eBay or Amazon would find that they have here in the United States. Now, it's notable to call out that best I could tell in my research that Mercado Libre does not sell any of its own products. They may have some generic adoptions that they put in there, but mostly, like when you look at the tools and the apparel and the shoes, it's all third-party seller platforms, but there's plenty of big names on there. Adidas was one I spent a lot of time on their brand shop of Mercado Libre, tried to get a feel for how they were doing things. But they are actually running their store, and several other brands that we know here in America are doing the same thing. Now, they do have the independent sellers, just like an Etsy or even Amazon has, the independent third-party sellers. But I think in terms of the growth story, I found it intriguing that the big name brands were already starting to represent on the platform. Now, before we jump into the stock valuation and fundamentals, I'll say that reviewing this one, I think the biggest opportunity for Mercado Libre right now is probably going to be the fintech side of things, as well as the shipping and logistics side of things. If they can lock those down, pretty much like they're already starting to do, if they can lock those channels down from the competition, if they can own the marketplace, the payment structure, and the shipping and logistics portion of all this, then I think you're looking at a company that has a lot of opportunity in Latin America. Hard to say what happens when they reach that pivotal penetration point of, say, 95% or something like that. But my guess is Latin America is still going to be developing their e-commerce usage over the next several years. So I do see a lot of runway for growth, and we'll get into what analysts are projecting for growth as well here in just a second. Now, in terms of negatives, you'll hear the analysts talk about things like tariffs and currency exchange and just the dynamic nature of the Latin American countries and their relationships, because they have different currencies, It's a complicated problem. And right now, Mercado Libre runs a different website for each country because of the currency exchanges. Now, I think that Mercado Libre is ahead of the game by pushing on their fintech platform. And if they can get to this place where their fintech platform kind of does the currency exchange for people and helps them buy from neighboring countries or sell in neighboring countries, then all of a sudden you've got another expansion point that they do not have here today. All right, so let's take a look at the stock and where it's trading at right now. Okay, so stock price today for MELI is $16.43.02. That's as of noon today. And we did have some market weakness heading through lunch. The market was down about 2%. We'll have to see how it finishes. So this minus 1.92 quite honestly reflects a lot of what we're seeing across the board. It's important to note that even though this is an international play, it is listed on NASDAQ, and thus it trades 1-to-1 in American currency. You can also find this stock in the QQQ, the ARKW, which is their sort of next generation internet, the ARKF, which is a fintech, and iBuy, which is an e-commerce ETF. Got a market cap today of $81.9 billion. And from a P ratio over the past 12 months, Mercado Libre is not showing a positive EPS. However, as we'll see in a minute, they will likely end in profitability once the fourth quarter is finally counted and posted in an earnings release. And you see the graph off to the right, the kind of year that Mercado has had. You look at the 52-week range, was as low as 422. Traded as high as 1735. So you are getting a stock that is 4x'd in the past, 52 weeks. So that's always kind of a warning sign for me to dig a little bit deeper, not because this company won't do good things, but you can see some opportunities potentially that have matriculated even after the positive news of pandemic sales. You've still had opportunities to get into Mercado for cheaper than the kind of escalating or run-up prices. Now let's take a look at how analysts on Yahoo are seeing earnings estimates for Mercado. You have a current year, which is 2020, which obviously ends after Q4, but those earnings are not released yet. So last year you were at negative $3.71. Most analysts on average think that they're going to land around $1.50. So that's a huge turnaround, right? From negative $3+ to positive $1.46 is an awesome turnaround. And then you look ahead to next year on the average estimate, and you have a double up on the EPS from 146 to 318. Now, I'm assuming these are non-GAAP earnings, but regardless, you can see that this company is marching towards profitability in a major way. And this is the kind of EPS growth that you simply are not going to find in a lot of stocks today. Going down to just the revenue estimates, year ago sales, $2.3 billion, so that would have been 2019. If analysts hit, then you're going to end up almost doubling that to $3.83 billion. And then next year, let's say we add another 25% or so, something like that, get you up to $5.24 billion. So an impressive growth rate. And even though we project that the scares of the pandemic will be fizzling out in 2021, you're still seeing the projection that Mercado Libre will remain a force in the market. All right, taking a look at the TipRanks dashboard to see what the best performing analysts think of Mercado Libre. I always sort by the top 4 or 5-star analysts. If you're interested in learning about TipRanks, I have my affiliate link in the description where you can find out more. This is a service that I've used every day for the past couple years, and I highly recommend it. But a little interesting here on Mercado Libre, you've got some downside projected in by most analysts. We have to be careful though, because some of these ratings are getting a little old. 2 months ago for most of them, likely when their last earnings came out. This 5 months ago probably doesn't even exist in the sense that the world has changed so much. But even the most recent couple have some downside built in. And to me, this kind of makes sense. And I say it makes sense because as we flip back here to EPS, if you take the projected average earnings estimate of $3.18 and you divide that into today's price of $16.40, that simple calculation gives you a forward PE of 515. So definitely running a little hot there. The $1.46 that hasn't even landed yet, right? So this number hasn't landed yet. That would put you in the neighborhood of 1100, 1200 PE as of today. And that earnings report hasn't even come out yet. So if they do land at $3.18, then the price you paid today of $16.40 or thereabouts would get you a PE of 500 times their 2021 projected earnings. And at that level, at 500 times, it's going to just take a couple years to really catch up. So I think that my 2 cents on today's valuation is, look for dips wherever possible. And I would say, project to hold this stock for at least 2 years. And you're probably better off from a 3 to 5 year range if you want to make the most of the opportunity. All right, so wrapping up for me, Mercado Libre, an intriguing opportunity with great growth forecasts. You simply don't see these kind of opportunities come by very often. That being said, it doesn't really fit in my personal portfolio, mostly because, as some of you know, I have this international aversion, particularly with Chinese stocks, where I just get squeamish on the accounting principles and stuff like that. That being said, I do own the QQQ in my retirement account, so I will have some exposure there. And then, as I mentioned on the PE analysis, the price has run up pretty significantly since their last earnings, right? And I think when you compare across the board, this one's begging for a dip, not because the company is bad, just because it's starting to get upwards of multiple year projections in terms of its earnings per share. That valuation is growing quite a bit. So I'd wait for a red day if you're really bullish on this one. I think you'll have those opportunities here in the first half of 2021. And again, reiterating, you're going to want to hold for 3 to 5 years for an easy win. This thing's growing like mad, and it could grow even faster if they take out some of the cross-border friction, right? Like the different websites, the different currency, as well as shipping. If they remove some of those friction points, this company could really take off. And then, like I just mentioned, QQQ or ARKW, easy exposure. I think you're smart to get a piece of this one somewhere, somehow, but there's more than one way to do it. And in my camp, I'll be using the ETF method. All right, guys, so that's my take on Mercado Libre, ticker symbol MELI. This company is growing like wildfire. But like so many of the other growth stocks in today's market, we're starting the year off pretty hot. We've got a couple potential catalysts still coming through for a market dip, namely, further pandemic concerns. We have a little bit of politics going on here in America in the first few weeks of the year. So we could get past that or not get past that. So I think that there's still some opportunities for some red days, even though I'm super bullish for 2021. If you can pick up MELI, on a 5 to 10% dip and you're like, man, I'm in this thing for 3 to 5 years, then I think it's a solid investment. Not my cup of tea being an international stock, but I certainly see the value proposition with this one. And thanks to the couple commenters on the channel who called this one out. Hope you guys enjoyed this analysis. We'll see you on the next video.